Can I pause it so we can have a conversation about what's going on?
People from the international community and maybe back in Nigeria. Do you feel like you are fighting anyway?
Not at all. I can tell you, nobody will ever put me under pressure when I challenge misconduct, rascality, or illegal process. Because it's not about it's not about, you can't, how do you put the person who is doing kidnapping under pressure? We're challenging what is wrong. It is not about me, it's not about you, it's about the society our children will live in. And I want people to understand that I'm challenging a process that is not a process that is wrong. It could be anybody. It is not about anything. So there's no pressure. Nobody has. And they know they will not.
Okay, the lady at the back. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rena Obozegi. I work for that communications. So I want to ask you, how are you engaging the international community on the outcome of the election?
Thank you very much.
Quite frankly, I'm not there. Unless on invitation, I'm not engaging any international community or international body, because I feel this is a Nigerian problem. And this is time we have to start solving our problem. Elections are conducted in all parts of Africa. And nobody have ever seen something near what we're going through here. So I'm not consulting anybody.
Okay.
I'm correspondent for News Central. If I know you've recorded a lot of success rates when you go to court, I'm not trying to be an antagonist, but if you eventually go to court and it remains the same, that the mandate is given to you all, what will you do? Secondly, we've seen a lot of visuals online about youth destroying their PVCs. What word do you have to these youth who you somewhat represents their demographic?
Well, I'm still going. And you have to know, I'm committed to going through this journey with them. It's not going to be a one-day journey. No matter how long the night is, they will be there. And I want to show them they will be there. We have to go through darkness. I'm going to go through this darkness with them. Because I know we're not going to ask these people to leave easily. That's why they're there. That's why they have structure. That structure of criminality can't go away overnight. That structure of destruction can't go overnight. Structure that have created 133 million people living in multi-dimensional poverty can't go out overnight. Structure that have created 95 million people living under absolute poverty can't go out overnight. Structure that have created over 20 million out-of-school children can't go out overnight. All we need to show is commitment, resilience, like use all the resources we can, all our energy, everything. All I assure them that I'm not going away. I'll be at the forefront. We will walk through this darkness until they like. It's something. I know the court will do the right thing. Their children are involved. The future of their children are involved. I had an experience today, just today, that I told my chairman, I choose whenever I meet a young person, I want to know what that young person does. So you see me every day talking to young people. So just this morning, she was worried and said to me, she was almost in tears that I lost the election. And I said, so what's her name? She said, call her name. I said, so what says she was from Nasarawa? I said, where do you go to school? And she went to University of Nasarawa. So what do you do? Said she has no job. She graduated since 2018. Said, so what are you trying to do? She told me she's learned how to do baking. So why are you not baking instead of being here to do this? Said she doesn't have 75,000 naira to buy an oven.
Okay, so many people at the back there. So what I'm going to do is
That's people who don't have money to buy.
okay. So those are the back. I recognize two people from the back, so you can, because of the time to move. You'll be coming someone here while you're coming.
Good morning. Yes, honestly. My name is Dixon Iwebu. I anchor Nigeria right now. Yeah. With the gloomy picture that is out there in our society today, with the rot in the political space, where do you get your inspiration and your strength from? Nigerians want to do.
Of course, I get inspiration Dixon from the young girl who doesn't have 75,000. When people like me can sit down in a place and drink a bottle of wine that is costing that amount. Country. When people like me are public money, I would have bought an oath. So that's where you get your inspiration. I said I want to build a new Nigeria where those youths will have hope, where there will be a future for them. I can't build it, Dixon, unless I do the right things so that I can emulate how to do the right things. We cannot do it. We have to teach them how to do the right thing. Dixon, I have an opportunity to do what other people are doing. And you've seen it from my corporate world, where I chair corporations, including Security and Exchange Commission, to my being governor of a state. I had an opportunity to do what other people are doing, but I didn't do it. Because we have to live and show an example. And use the resources of the country, public resources, for public good. And ask those who have the opportunity of doing the right thing for the country to do the right thing. If we have a security man, he should do his job. If we have somebody to conduct an election, I've been an observer of election in some of the West African countries. Dixon, it wasn't anything near this. Is this what we spent billions to do? Hey, wait a minute. We should have used that billions to do something.
We lost him there for a minute.
I hope you are not here.
You said that you were going to court. One, what are the reliefs that you were seeking? Two, the West Africa Union observations have described this election as generally fair, do you ascribe to of the reports to the elections as generally?
To my comments, I didn't want to mention comments of observers because if there's so that observers like Union and the EU who have said it did not meet the standards, who have said reach, who have said this. So let's not talk about what the observers are saying. Let's look at what Nigerians are saying. This is essentially a Nigerian, and I want to hear Nigerians. With all due respect to those who are visiting us, you're from Ghana?
Yes, please.
Is this fair in Ghana? Because you have, yeah. Just say, tell me, is this fair in Ghana? I just asked you a question. It is not, my brother, I've been to your country and I've witnessed election. The earlier we start saying things are wrong when it's wrong, my brother, Africa will be good.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me because it happened there. Don't be part of that. African is the other question you asked about going to court, I've told you I cannot answer until I get to where I was asked to go. If I was asking a question that you're asking me here as I was coming here, will I say answer you? No. I was coming here to see journalists and answer their questions. And that's what I'm doing now.
Okay. Now, the last. No, just come. The lady who's calling me, come on.
I'll go there. You can go there and give it to them. Give it to them then.
Okay.
Your Excellency, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Kingsley of the Daily Independent newspapers. I wouldn't want to throw a popular part now. My question to you would be, Nigeria has seen a lot, from the violence in the northeast to the killings in some other parts of the country, in the south. If, for the sake of peace, the person and the party that was declared to be the winner approaches you for a unity government, for the sake of peace, don't you think also should be shaped and withdraw the path of peace?
Let me say it again for purposes of your understanding. I've never, if you remember when I made my Jara comments, where is it? Please come and watch you. Let's say right now. When I made my Jara comment, if you recall, I didn't ask for people to go about peacefully. And since after the election, I have never done anything to show that I don't want this. I believe in a very peaceful Nigeria. I've had several phone calls where I asked people to remain calm and peaceful. That has nothing to do with what I'm challenging. Challenging the process. If the process is faulty, it's faulty. In fact, you can't build peace on a faulty foundation. It's not happening to anyone in the world. You have to deal, the foundation has to be right for peace to prevail. And that is what the foundation is, what I'm challenging. And I'm pleading with you. It's not about me, it's not about you. It's about the future society. As children and generations with it. It has to be built on a foundation of honesty, transparency, justice, fairness. We went into an election where somebody said and promised and shouted, this is the route we are going to go. This is how we are going to go there. And we followed the track. All of us. Suddenly, in that long distance journey. And it wasn't one day, and it wasn't quick. Then after one day, and all of us followed it. And suddenly, as we get to the end of it, somebody jumps from somewhere and claims the prize. What did you do? At that stage, my brother, it's not about peace. There's a process of being anything you want to be. If you want to be a professor, you must go and be a lecturer, write thesis, and you are approved to be a professor. If you want to be a doctor, you go and read medicine. You cannot suddenly, from being a lawyer, you say confer a doctorate degree. No. Lawyers go through law school. I can be a lawyer. I cannot be awarded senior advocate today, no matter my knowledge of the law, because it is a process of being a senior advocate. Process is important, my brother. That's what makes a society. In this society, we have seen people suddenly become a senior advocate without going to law school. That's what we want to stop. Orderliness, rule of law. That's what makes a society.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I think in the interest of time, you have a whole lot of things to do.
There was one lady.
Yes. I asked her to come because I know how they come people. I wanted her to ask the question.
Let her ask.
But she got tired standing.
Oh, no.
Do you still want to ask your question?
That young
Okay.
girl. That young girl.
Yes, I gave her the
Where is she? Scan her.
She's not.
Eh? Her boss. No, her boss really is there now.
So, hello. Okay, you can come now. Please.
Ask that question. Take it to her. Please. Feel free.
So my name is Justine. So I wanted to ask, what are your advices on the youth?
That
What are your advices on the youth as volunteers? Because they believe their votes don't count. So are you telling them to come out to vote in governorship?
thank you. My sister, I insisted because when I saw these are the people who have put their faith in us. Be assured. Believe me, brother. Believe me, as a father, that this journey, I'm totally committed to it. And I'll walk through with you. I know how disillusioned you are. Don't be. Because the people we're dealing with have made up their mind that we will succeed. We have also mind that we will succeed. And I assure you that the will, our will, is bigger than that. The God we worship will see us through. Because you know we're doing the right thing. So let me reemphasize. Go out massively on Saturday. Vote for the right persons. Vote for Labour Party. We are committed to this. I know it's not as easy as I said, because you're feeling, people see me now on the road. I was just telling somebody, I'm like, I've never had a position where I feel emotional, right? But I don't see people all over the place and young people, and they're crying and telling me, I'm going to leave this country. I can no longer stay. And I feel the pain. Just like I said, the young girl was crying today and she was trying to boil water and everything. But I'm preaching to all of them. Please stay. I'm not going to go away. I'm going to stay with you. And I assure you, we will overcome. They won't be there when the day comes. But we will be there.
So another round of applause for our president. The press conference is now over. Arise, O God, Masters, Nigeria's all away to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. Heroes past shall never give to serve with heart and mind, one nation banding freedom, peace and unity.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And before I get started about summation of what Mr. Peter Obi, His Excellency Peter Obi, who is the presidential candidate for the Labour Party. Initially, when we started, we had some technical difficulties, so that some of what he said you may not have heard. I'm Dr. Onyon Husimiri, and I'm the. So I am very, very excited that we had the opportunity to see him speak. But for those of you who did not know or could not pick up on what he was saying initially, let me just give you a brief summary of what he talked about. One of the things that I found moving about him, of course, was that he started with a prayer. And he felt that was important. He's a very spiritual man. So he felt it was important to get started and bring the spirit of the Almighty into the forum. And the first thing he talked about is that because he was evidently, there's been information about him, speaking about certain things, and he was just trying to make it clear that he had not spoken about anything. And for those of you who see me with my shades, because the screen gets a little bit too bright for me, so I have to wear something to kind of tone it down a bit. And so he talked about the fact that he never released anything, any messages immediately after the voting. So if all the things that are flying around in the on the internet about what he said this, that, and the other, he never did that. So it's important that we understand that what he talked about today is his first an official discussion following the voting. He thanked Nigerians, all Nigerians, and certainly he thanked a lot of the young people for voting in such large numbers. And of course, their hard work, because he acknowledged that it took a lot of hard work, and that the young people believed in the new Nigeria. And quite frankly, that's why they all came out in droves and voted for the Labour Party. And since these young people believed in a new Nigeria, his intention now is to ensure that that new Nigeria becomes a reality. That is what he and Baba Dati, Yusuf Dati, intend to do, his vice presidential running mate, you know. And he felt that the election was not transparent, and that's the biggest problem, the lack of transparency. The process by which any president should arrive in office should be excellent. And this president, and if you're going to be called Your Excellency, then the process that brought you in there must be excellent. So excellency without excellence is not a good thing. So he wants to make sure that whoever leads the country has to have the moral authority based on authenticity, based on honesty and transparency, to be the leader of Nigeria, so that the young people can understand the importance of honesty, what it means to run for office, and how you get into office. You have to be transparent, and he emphasized that a lot. He felt very strongly that there were a lot of suppression of the votes, particularly the young people's votes being suppressed. And that was because there was no rule of law applied during the process. INEC did not apply the rule of law. So that was a big concern. And he and his vice presidential running mate intend to ensure that there will be a peaceful and legal option to reclaim his mandate. He felt very strongly that he had a mandate, and he is going to go and prove it in court. And he has enough information to prove that he won the election. And he also encouraged young people not to be disillusioned, not to give up, because there's another very impactful election coming up the 11th of March. And he's expecting young people to go and campaign tremendously so that you get the right people in office. He doesn't want it to be an opportunity now for people to get disillusioned and not continue the fight. The fight doesn't start. I mean, it doesn't stop because obviously you feel badly about the outcome. As a matter of fact, you should be inspired to do more than fall apart because of what has happened. And then the other thing he wanted the young people to know is that he will be there. He's going to participate. He'll be a part of the process. It's not telling young people to go out there and vote for the governorship, the assembly, senatorial candidates. He says he actually will be there. So that was important. Now, they started asking him questions. And one of the questions that was posed to him was, how can he prove that all these allegations are true about the fraud and inconsistencies? They wanted to know how he can prove that. But as far as he was concerned, this was not the place to lay his cards on the table. The INEC told him that if he had any concerns, he should actually go to court. And that's what he intends to do. And that he's going to go there and present his information. And he talked about the fact that the numbers who voted were not the numbers that were reflected. It was much lower than is reflected. So that is certainly of concern. He has such information to prove that due to manipulation of the numbers, you know, that is why you're showing a lower level, a lower number of participation than actually did happen. So that is a part of concern, the manipulation. And of course, when there's manipulation, then that means there's suppression and people didn't get a chance to vote, and those who voted, their votes were not counted. And so he wanted us to be patient, because when he goes to court, he is going to show, because he's done it numerous times, he's going to show that the court can be trusted to do the right thing. And that's what he intends to do, present to the court the issues at hand and let the court be the judge based on information presented, not on supposition or on whatever, people have been paid off on all of that. He's not interested in that kind of conversation. He knows that the court will have to do the right thing based on the information he's got on hand. And then he was asked if he has an alliance with the other parties, and has he reached out to Tinubu, the winner. And he says, well, that his intent, his objective here is not to disrespect any elders or anything like that, but the issue for him, what he is fighting, is the process. He's challenging the process. It's not about who won or who didn't win. It is for him the process. How did the win occur? And that is very important. That's what they're more interested in, assuring that the process cannot continue in the future to be manipulated negatively. He believes in integrity of the judiciary and believes that there will be justice as long as they take into consideration all of the information that he produces, that the party will produce to prove their point that he had the mandate. And also that there is no alliance with anyone. What he is doing is the Labour Party is doing what it has to do based on the information that they have. The other individuals in the other parties certainly can do what, pretty much agree with him that something very bad has happened. And so that is what they're doing, not necessarily that there's any kind of alliance with each other. Now they asked him if he goes to court and it doesn't matter what he produces, and he stopped there. He just didn't even want to discuss that, because he says that he's always been successful when he goes to court, because he never goes there to compromise anyone. He goes there with his information at hand, and that's exactly what he plans to do. He goes there to do the right thing. He doesn't go there to challenge anyone or upset anyone. He's there to do the right thing. So then the court will have to respond accordingly. And he has enough evidence, abundant evidence, to produce. So they kind of, wanted to know from him, what is our evidence? And he had to make clear to them, we're not yet in court. When I get to court, that's where I show the evidence. I can't show my hands right now. They also asked him if he's involved in the international community. And he says that this is a Nigerian. I thought that was very impactful to me, because it kind of tells me the kind of mindset that this gentleman has as a leader. He says that this is a Nigerian problem. He's kind of tired of us always reaching out to the rest of the world to address something we should be able to address. That is the mind of a leader. And that means that in his opinion, we are going to become self-sufficient. And he doesn't have any problem with the world being engaged to some degree, but he is not going to go out there and start asking the world to intervene. Another interesting question that was asked, because it appears that based on the disillusionment that a lot of the young people are feeling, many of them are destroying PVCs. And he asked them not to do that, because the war just started, if I may use the expression war. It just started. You can't quit now. He is fighting the structure, and that the young people have to be a part of that. They have to be a part of fighting the structure of destruction, the poverty, this so-called structure that APC supposedly has. All that structure was not created overnight, and it's not going to go away overnight. So you cannot just give up. You have to be a part of it. You have to do what you have to do. You have to be committed. As young people, we have to be committed. And then one of the things that he said, and I took to heart, he says, I want your commitment, but I am going to be committed as well. Me and my vice presidential candidate, we are not going to go away. We're going to be a part of the struggle. And they asked him, he talked about the fact, as they were asking him if he thought the courts would do the right thing. And he says that when I present the case, they will. But what touched him, why he was so determined that this has to go forward, that he has to help to right the wrong, was a young woman that he met that had graduated from college, but had no money to start a business. She wasn't working, but she wanted to become a baker, but she didn't have the kind of simple money necessary for her to buy an oven. So it was at this moment that he got very emotional. That was really stark for me. Okay, it tells you the kind of person this person, Peter Obi, is. He's an emotional person. He takes the concerns and the weight of the pain of the young people. He has it on his shoulder. So from all indication, when you listen to him and you observe what his mannerisms and all of that, you can quite tell that it is about making Nigeria great. It's not about him. He's a man that has money. He can afford all kinds of things, but he has people. He has this young woman in particular that could not afford to buy an oven to become a baker, and the cost of one bottle of wine that many of them can afford, many of the rich can afford, just the cost of a bottle of wine is all this Chinese, but they drink it. They can take a bottle of wine and just consume it, and they do so